One of the great ways that we are able to change a space in a home, particularly a kitchen, is to open walls up. We see that a lot of times in homes that were built 50s, 60s, 70s, where you have the smaller defined kitchen, smaller defined dining room, and oftentimes begs the question of, do we go ahead and remove a wall to kind of unite those spaces? So when we're considering removing a wall, we typically like to ask two questions. Number one would be, is it a load-bearing wall? Kind of a general rule of thumb is if the wall you're wanting to remove is running parallel with the floor joists or the trusses that create the roof framing or the rafters, that is typically not going to be a load-bearing wall. If it's running perpendicular to the floor joists, trusses, or rafters above, that typically is a weight-bearing wall. If you want to be safe, we always advise people to go ahead and have a structural engineer come out to evaluate that. That's what we do as far as in a project. If we're removing a wall that we've determined that it is a weight-bearing wall, the engineer will go ahead and create a game plan as far as framing that will allow the loads from above, whether that's snow, a second floor, roof system, to be transferred down to the foundation of the structure. So that's the first question. Is it a load-bearing wall? If it's not a load-bearing wall, then typically you're good to go. You don't really have to make many changes. The second question would be, what's inside the wall? Is there anything inside the wall? So there's a couple ways you can accomplish that. One is to look below, if you've got a basement or a crawl space, to see what's actually going up into the wall, or if you can get above it in an attic space to see if there's anything coming down in the wall that way. Another way you can do that is they make some pretty cool fiber optic cameras these days. You drill a small hole, you can get inside your wall cavity to see what it is. But probably the best is, if you can deal with the inconvenience, is to actually pull the drywall or the plaster off one side of that wall to get a firm understanding of what is inside that wall and what's going to have to be addressed if you do remove it. You're going to find things like plumbing, electrical, heating and cooling ductwork, framing, those kinds of things. If you do find water lines or electrical, that tends to be easier because water lines are pressurized. So we can make those kind of go whatever direction you want, and the pressure will make the water flow through it. And electrical, if you're not dealing with conduit, Romex will be flexible and easy to adapt. But if you're dealing with heating and cooling, ductwork, and maybe some sort of framing, that can be a little bit more complicated. But once you have a thorough understanding about what's going to have to be changed in removing that wall, then you can evaluate, does the cost of that and the inconvenience of that, is that outweigh the difficulty or the benefits that it's going to bring to that overall design, to that new space. And that's something that we as designers help our clients work through. If you want to discuss your specifics of your project, we encourage you to reach out to one of our designers here at DreamMaker. So I know some of you are out there saying, Kurt, how much does it cost to remove my wall? And we're going to save that for another video.